Good morning, Year 5. Welcome to your second maths lesson of the week. We are going to start with our flashback 4 mental maths questions, plus the clock face there on the screen. Pause the video, giving yourself around 30 seconds to try and answer as many of the questions as you can. Pause the video now. Question number 1, complete 2 3/4, and we're looking for here the equivalent of that written as an improper fraction. So to convert from a mixed number to an improper, if you can remember from way back now with our virtual math lessons weeks and weeks ago, we do the whole number times the denominator. 4 times 2 is 8. Add on my numerator, which will give me 11/4. These two fractions are equivalent. First one written as a mixed number, second one written as an improper fraction, where the numerator is larger than the denominator. Question 2, write a fraction equivalent to 2/3. So again here, there are a number of different answers, but whatever the rule is, whatever you did to your numerator, you must also do to your denominator. So for example, if you times the numerator by 2 and got 4, you must also have times the denominator by 2 and got 6. Okay, you could have times them both by 10 and got 20/30. You could have times them both by 5 and got 10/15. Any answer there would work as long as you did the same thing to both numerator and denominator. Question 3, 2-digit times 2-digit calculation. A recap from our lesson a few days ago. The answer to this number times this number would be 1,472. I've not got space to fill out the whole calculation with all the workings out. Hopefully you got 1472. Question 4, what is the value of the 4 in the number 243,157? The 4 is in the 10,000 column, so 4 lots of 10,000 would be 40,000. The time shown on the clock is 6:36, or 36 minutes past 6, or 24 minutes to 7. Either would work. So today we're going to move away from area and perimeter, and we're going to look at something completely different today. We're going to have a look at coordinates. Now this is a recap of your Year 4 knowledge. We haven't looked at anything like this in Year 5 just yet. So this is brand new stuff this year, but it is a recap of what you did last year. So again, it shouldn't take too long for us to kind of cover the basics of what we need to cover. So on my screen there, I've just pulled up a 10 by 10 grid. A couple of things I want to point out to you on that grid. First thing is where the two lines meet, where the horizontal, think about the horizontal and vertical explanations we talked about the other day, where the horizontal and the vertical lines meet. Here we call this the origin. What else do we need? We also call these two lines, when we're looking at graphs, we call them axes. So we've got the y-axis. I always remember it as y to the sky. Not sure why, but that little rhyme helps me. And I've got the x-axis running horizontally here along the bottom. So x and y-axes are important. When we plot a point on our graph, or when we point a plot on our chart here, okay, we call them points coordinates, which is what the word here in the Walt tells us we're focusing on today. When I'm writing a coordinate, I would write it using brackets, and I'd have my two numbers separated by a comma. So for example, I would write the coordinate 5, 6, like so. The first number, when I'm writing my coordinates out, okay, refers to the x coordinate. So when I'm looking at my two numbers here, the 5 is representing the 5 along the bottom rather than the 5 going up the side. So the first number is the x coordinate, which is important while we know the x and y axes, And the second number is referring to the y coordinates, which is my vertical line going here. So first thing is we need to be able to write coordinates, which we've just shown you how to do. We need to be able to identify where those coordinates are, which I'll show you in a second. We need to, once we've identified and plotted them, we need to be able to find missing coordinates when we get given a question, which I'll show you in a minute, about missing sides and missing coordinates. So 5, 6 on my chart here would be 5 along the x-axis and then 6 up the y-axis. So where the two lines meet is where I would put a small cross or a little dot or something to acknowledge that's where the coordinate is. So along the x-axis 5 and up the y-axis 6. Where the two lines meet, or where the 2 points meet, is where the coordinate 5, 6 would be found. Some people remember it as going along the corridor before going up the stairs. That's quite a nice little way of remembering which way to go first. Okay, because if you went up 5 and along 6, you'd be at a completely different point, which wouldn't be 5, 6. 6, 5 and 5, 6, even though they use the same numbers the other way around, are 2 different points on my grid. If I was asking you to write the coordinates that I've plotted, so let's mark a couple on my graph here. So let's have a look at this point here. So to work out how or what the coordinates would be, I would go along the x-axis or along the corridor, and I would go up the stairs until I meet. So where the two values meet would give me my coordinates of 4, 7, written in brackets, of course. My second one, along and up, would give me the coordinates 8, 2. And finally, 2, 2. If I had, let's for example, plot a coordinate here, I haven't actually gone along my x-axis at all. I've just purely gone up my y-axis. But if I was writing the coordinates of the blue cross there, I am actually sat on the 0 mark of my x-axis. So my coordinates would be 0, 7. You will always need 2 values when representing coordinates. Just because it's not moved along doesn't mean you don't have to put the number in. You always need to have 2 numbers inside brackets separated by a comma to be able to plot and explain where coordinates are. So today you're going to practice writing coordinates. So I'll have some on the graph for the first question where you've got to explain which is the coordinate or which is the correct set of coordinates for the points shown. Remember, along the corridor up the stairs, it's the x-axis, then it's the y-axis when writing them out. Then you will have a go at plotting some. So it'll give you some coordinates, you have to plot them. You have to identify some. So like I've just done there, it'll have some points on the graph or on the grid that you have to point out and write the coordinates to go alongside. And then finally, the last thing is looking at missing sides of a shape using coordinates. So I'm just going to use a smaller grid for this. So you might get a question, something like, can you write down the missing coordinates? Can you write down the coordinates for the missing vertex of the shape shown if it's going to be a square? Now, a vertex is where 2 lines meet. So a vertex is where 2 lines meet. So if you see the word vertex today, which you will do on some of your questions, and if you go onto the My Maths activity that goes alongside this, you will find a question similar to this on there. if you come across the word vertex, it's where two lines meet. So if I'm making a square, I know that all my sides are of equal length. So I go down 2, across 2, up 2. So I would put my missing point here. Oh my goodness. My missing point would be there. So if it's asking for the coordinates of the missing vertex, remember the vertex point where it meets, I would be looking along my x-axis again, up my y-axis, and I would spot that my missing coordinates for the vertex here is 3, 3. So that's a question that you will have a go at looking at today and applying your thinking to. That's it from me. Have a go, like I say, at the worksheet that goes with this lesson, plus the mind math activity. The two together shouldn't take you very long, okay? I wouldn't expect this will be a lesson that would take you very long to complete. Hopefully, a lot of the knowledge from last year in year 4 will be coming back to you and you'll be quite comfortable with this, okay? I'll leave it there then. I'll let you get on with it and I'll see you next time.